Hi, my name is Cindy. I was reading the other day about David in the book of Psalms where he was crying out to God and he mentions tears and something about tears in a bottle. And I thought, well, I know a lot about tears. When we were children growing up, my brothers used to tease me something fierce and they would try to get me to cry, which I did. And then when I cried, they would make fun of me and call me names, and I'd cry some more. So early on in my life, I had to learn not to let them see me crying. I had to hide my tears. During that time of growing up, our family moved all the time. We moved just about every other year. And I would cry because I did not want to go to school, a new school again. I did not want to try and make new friends again. School was hard enough as it was. And I know that it was hard for my mama, but it didn't stop her from always fussing at me. She'd say, "Stop it. Just stop it. You don't see anyone else crying, do you?" So once again, I had to hide my tears, only this time from my mama, so she wouldn't yell at me. And it didn't do any good to cry my tears to Daddy because he just look helplessly at Mom and say, "Can't you do something with her?" Well, we moved about 9 times before I graduated from high school. And so my graduation was a very pivotal moment in my life. And I thought, I'm free. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to live where I want and go where I want. I'm going to make my own choices and my own decisions. And I had already started doing some of that, making those choices. And one of them was I started to date boys that didn't know the Lord, and I hung out with kids who did not know the Lord. And so those relationships took me far away from God. So when I was 20, I thought I was old enough and mature enough to get married. So I married one of those boys, and that only lasted 3 years. And then within less than a year later, I was married again. And this time I was married for 10 years to the father of my 2 children. And it was during that time when I was pregnant with my first child that I realized I needed help. And I realized that I needed Jesus back in my life. And I made that choice. And the father of my children did not like that I was going to serve the Lord again. And so it began to cause problems in our marriage. And he would get really angry at me, and he would beat me, and then I would cry. And he would get right up in my face, and he'd say, "Shut up your face, or I'll shut it up myself." And so, once again, I'm trying to hide my tears. Well, there came a day that I just felt like I could not face life anymore. I didn't want to face life anymore. And on the outside, I was just trying to be this normal person, but on the inside, I was just this ball of wreck. And so I was pacing in the house. I was going from room to room trying to decide what I was going to do. And I looked down, and there was my Bible. And I remember that I picked it up, and I sat down on the floor, and I just looked at it like it was a stranger. But then I opened it up like this, and I held it against my heart. And I whispered, "God, is it okay if I cry now? Because I'm really hurting inside." And I felt such a sweetness just all around me. And I began to cry. And I cried for so long and so hard I couldn't even get the words spoken to my prayers. But you see, that doesn't matter with God because he looks past this face that I have on, and he looks past the words that I can't speak. And he looked right here in my heart. He was listening to me. I knew he was listening to me. And so when I got done crying, because he let me cry a long time, he filled me with peace. And I just knew that if I could cry in the presence of Almighty God, then I could trust the promises that he made in his word, where he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And he never has. Never has. Did that make everything okay? No, not right away. I mean, things got worse before it got better. But the point being is, he did not leave me. He did not leave me to walk that alone or by myself. He was always with me. And so I tell you this little bit of history just to let you know that if God can take someone like me who totally messed up my life, because it wasn't his fault, it was the choices that I had made. It was my life I was living my way that was messing things up. But if he could take someone like me from a dark place and save me and let me cry and listen to me, then I know he can do the same for you. It's okay if I cry, I do not cry alone. It's okay if I weep before the throne. For there is one who holds my hand, he always understands. It's okay if I cry, he will not pass me by. It's okay if I'm weak, I know that he is strong. It's okay if I feel lost, to him I still belong. For there is one who holds my hand, he always understands. It's okay if I cry, he will not pass me by. For there is one who holds my hand, he always understands. It's okay if I cry, he will not pass me by. My name is Cindy. I hope to see you again soon for one more song.